Hi there, it's Tracy here from the Papercraft Studio. Thank you for joining me today. So I'm going to show you how to make this Whimsy and Wonder triple pop-up cube card. So here it is as it lies flat, and then this is how it stands. So it's quite tricky to show you on the camera, but that's how it would look. Let's try and position this. That's kind of how it would look as it was stood up. So it's really pretty. It's probably my favourite card I've designed this year. So let's go ahead and show you how to make it and the supplies you need. So you need a piece of thick basic white cardstock, and this measures 8.5 inches by 8 inches. You need, for the inside here, some designer series paper, and I've chosen the Holly from Whimsy and Wonder designer series paper. So you need 6 pieces, and they all measure 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 inches. And then you need a contrasting design for the outside, and I've chosen the baubles from the same set, 6 of those as well, and they also measure 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. I'll show you the other supplies you need. A scrap of thick basic white to do this piece, and I don't know if you can see that that's heat embossed, so it makes it really sparkly, and I wanted that sentiment as well for that. So I'm going to pop this in the corner and show you how to make this card. And once you get the hang of these, they're actually easier than you think, or they may look. I'm just going to bring in my Simply Score tool, and on the 8.5 inch side, 8.5 inch, I'm going to score at 2 inches, 4, 6 and 8. And that's all the scoring done. And then I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and on the 8 inch side, I'm going to cut this at 2 inches. So all the score lines are coming this way now, but this one's at 2 inches going the other way, and then slide along again to 2 inches and cut another one. So you've got 2 pieces that are 2 inches, and then this one that's 4 inches, and that's how we get that kind of tower of cubes. So go ahead and fold all of the score lines here. If you've got this in a kit from me, I'll have put some, this is part of my Whimsy and Wonder Fancy Folds Christmas special. So this is the last card in the series. If you've got this in a kit from me, you'll have some arrows, and I'll have written tape on here, because with the thing with this card is it's quite important to get all your papers in the right place. So that's the trickiest part, really. So yeah, so just go ahead and fold all of these, and then I'll show you where you need to put the papers. The other thing I'm going to do when I do this as a blog post, I've also taken a photo of these pieces like this, but I've put arrows on where the paper needs to go and which way up if you've got a pattern that needs to go in a certain direction. So if you're not sure, you can refer back to that once I've written the blog post, which I haven't yet. Okay, so with this piece folded over, you're going to put tape along here. If you're going to do this with glue, don't worry at this stage, but for now I'm just going to put some tape on all of these folded bits here. I quite like using tape with these because you do need something that's quite strong, although our liquid glue is very strong once it's in place. Okay, so that's on all the folded edges like that. And then with the inside pieces, you want to have your fold on the left here, and you're going to have your designer series paper for the inside on the next 2 panels along. Okay, so with this one it doesn't really matter. I don't have too much of a way round for the pattern because it's quite random. Okay, so, and these are going to be the ones that are in here, so you don't see an awful lot of them, but also these ones back here as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick these down. Took me a while to work out which of the papers I wanted to put to use with this, and my original plan didn't look how I wanted it to, so then I kept changing them up, and Actually, I didn't think I'd put the baubles on, but they looked really good on the outside when I did it. So yeah, I really liked how they showed in the end. If you are doing this with a paper that has a pattern that matters, you want these ones facing upwards like that. So the two next to here and the pattern facing up. Like I say, for this one, it doesn't matter at all. It does on the baubles because they have a way up. I made one of these cards for my parents last year for their Christmas card, and they loved it so much. I can't remember the name of the paper, but it was kind of like icy blues. It was almost like something out of Frozen. So they really looked good as well. But I just really, these are my favourite Christmas papers for this year. Okay, and then the same on this bigger one. Again, that would be the folded side. So on these two pieces, but just near the top, like this. So you just leave an even border around that section there. So that's going to be these ones. So you can see they don't go all the way down. Whoops. This one's been folded and unfolded so many times. So I did this class in person and also by post. So yeah, the cards have been opened and closed quite a few times. So they're getting a little bit more bendy now. Okay, so one there. I should have put the one with the nice holly berries up the top. I'm going to do that quickly because that's going to be the bit that shows. I was lucky to get away with that then. It doesn't really matter, but I quite liked seeing that one there. I'm going to put one another way. Ooh. I tried to do this video a little bit earlier and then I realised that I'd forgotten to trim my A4 paper on the 8-inch side. So when I made it, this was too big here. So that was frustrating. Never mind. Just started again, made sure I had the right measurements this time. Okay, so now you can peel the backing off or add your glue at this stage if that's your preferred adhesive. And then what I do, just before I take this off, I fold these two pieces over, so the section with the tape on and the next one, and then this one will just flap over. You could do it just at the end here and fold both of those, but this is just the way I like to do it. So two of those, and that one just flips over. So take this off, and they should match up, but as with all cutting and scoring, you might just need to make sure that, you know, with the folds as well, that they're lining up perfectly. Same with this one, fold it over, and then again on the last one. There we go. Okay, so the idea is that none of the joins will show. So you can see this one is tucked around the back here, as is this one, and then this one is around here. So when it stands, you can't see them. Okay, so that was how I designed this to be. So this is, you know, as tricky as it gets on this bit. Okay, so you want to have the tall cube with the papers on the inside at the top, so when they're going to lay down flat like that, so those papers are just laid on the desk. This is where you're going to put your next set of papers, but we're going to put it together first. Like I said, I want this join to be to not show. So to do that, when I attach this piece to here, I've got the two pieces of designer series paper laid flat under here, and it's this top one that's going to attach on both of these to here. So that you can attach it as a cube or you can have it laid down, but basically this score line here needs to match the bottom of the card. So so you're leaving this top section clear. So like I say, you'll have this piece here and this piece here are going to lay flat, and you're just going to put glue under this top one here. If you're doing this, sorry, I know I keep going over this, but if you're doing this and you're going to set it as as it is as a cube rather than flat, which is what I prefer to do, because then you can really see along the bottom and also along this side. Yeah, it's the top kind of piece underneath that attaches. So this piece here has also got paper on, but this is underneath this piece. Okay, so we're just putting tape or glue, whichever you want to use. At this stage I use glue because you have time to move it around if you don't get it quite straight, and particularly with this you will have a little bit that hangs over on one side or both, depending on how you do it, so just bear that in mind. So I'm going to stand this back up as a cube, because I want that one there, nothing on that one, but this one here to be the one that attaches. So let's get that in place, check that it's lined up on both sides, and then just flatten it down. And then the same with this one. So this has the two pieces, and I'm going to put glue under this one here. You could add the inside designer series paper once you've put this together if you want to, but it is quite fiddly, so I would suggest not. So this one is going to butt up to this one here and line up at the bottom. So let me just check that I've got that in place and that they're lining up together there pretty much. Okay, so press these two down. Just going to pull it in a little bit. So these two at the moment aren't attached to anything, or won't be at any point actually. I'm saying at the moment, but they really won't be. So that's then how you get your cube shape. Okay, so we're going to decorate the front and have it, so these two again are just hanging out the end. You can move them up, but you'll be using the wrong one, so make sure you have it as a 6 rather than as a 4 cube there. So this is how this one now is. So let's go ahead and decorate the front, and depending on how you cut your designer series paper, you may want to follow, you see here that was cut in a line, and these never really do follow on. Oh, there we go, how I think they're going to. So you could have it in a line if you want, like that, if that's how you've cut it. And again, if you've got this in a kit from me, I may or may not have, I would have cut some in a row, but it depends, because we wanted this paper as well for other projects. So these two on here I've got following on. This one doesn't. I don't think it matters particularly, because once it's stood up you don't really see, but if you are going to follow a pattern on at least 2 of them, I would go for these 2 at the bottom. I can't even make mine match up properly, so pretty sure it's a bit like that. But and also you may want to spread out some of the blues and the pinks. So anyway, your choice, you have it how you want it. I'm going to do it like that, because I could spend too long looking at it. So pop the glue on the back, and you just want to make sure you go quite near the edges, but obviously not so that it's going to seep out, because that's not a good look, even though the glue does dry clear. So on each of these panels, when you attach this, there is you will still see a white border all the way around that cube. So just keep adding these in the order that you've decided, or randomly. But like I say, if you have a pattern that needs to go up the right way, again, the pattern's going this way. I think the baubles do look quite random, but there is definitely more of a way up that they go. Now with this card, you need to give it to somebody really special who's really going to appreciate it, or keep it for yourself as an ornament and just bring it out every Christmas and put it on your mantelpiece, because sometimes people just don't appreciate how much effort goes into these cards. So you just wondering now, oh, that's the way it goes, look, there we go. I don't know if that one does go on the top like that, but like I say, you could spend far too long trying to do this, but maybe I'm going to go with that, because those two definitely go at the bottom. Okay, so glue on this one. I think if you have it in a pack from me, there's probably at least 4. The bottom 2 on each side will line up, because this was also used, these papers, on the tent card with the hanging panel. So yeah, with the trees. So that's where I would have cut into your paper. So I cut that piece first. So that kind of dictated how I cut these ones. But this is great as well because it really doesn't use up a lot of paper. And if you had, you know, another occasion to do it for, and you were doing it with 6x6 paper, or using, you know, a different Christmas 6x6 paper, you could get, you know, this out of 2 sheets. So it's really, really good one to do. Ooh. Oh dear, they fell on the last one. Up we go a little bit. I think that's its happy resting place. So there we go. Yeah, so you can see it starting to come together now, and that's how it's going to stand. So we're going to, this is, I keep saying it's the trickiest bit, maybe not, each stage is a bit of a tricky bit. So this piece here is cut from the Stitched So Sweetly dies, or one of them. You see it's got that little stitching on that side, and you can just about get that sentiment on there, and I really wanted that one because I wanted it to sparkle. Let's go ahead and stamp that. And because I'm doing heat embossing, I'm going to need to use Versamark before I put the silver on. So I've gone ahead and I've cut this little one here. There's actually a die for that in the Christmas tree dies. So I've gone ahead and cut that one and started to colour, but I'm just going to show you then how to, or the magic really of heat embossing. And you might want to turn your volume down a little bit at this stage because it might be a little bit noisy. So you need a powder pillow, and it's called an embossing buddy. So that just takes off any little bits of dust or static there. So when you come to stamp your image or your greeting, you shouldn't get other bits. Although it looks like I can see a bit in the middle, but I think that's just from the actual piece of cardstock. So oops, here we go. I'm going to get my Versamark. So Versamark is just a really sticky kind of, I think it's a watermark stamp pad really, but it's really good for heat embossing. So you just ink your image up. Be careful not to get it around the edges, otherwise you'll get a line. And then I've managed to just about fit this one on. I'm doing this without getting my head in, so I'm going to go about there. So press it down well, it will stick. And I don't know if you can just about see that image on there. And then I'm going to bring in my silver embossing powder. So I get a little bit messy because it's all on the spoon. And then I'm just going to shake the powder on there, just give it a tap on the back, and that looks quite well covered. And you know, this is always so magical because it looks so dull, this embossing powder, when it's first put on here, and then when it sets, or as it starts to set, it's really magical. So I can see I've got a couple of bits I just want to get rid of, but apart from that, that looks pretty good. Okay, so maybe turn down your volume at this stage because I'm going to come in now and just heat emboss this, but it's really a great thing to watch on the camera if it does pick it up, so I'm hoping it does. I'm just going to put that underneath, and I'm going to pin it down with my Take Your Pick tool so that I don't get really hot fingers. So here we go. And can you see it start to change? It starts to go really sparkly as it heats up. I love it. How cool is that? So it's gone from being really dull to super sparkly. Okay, so put that to one side. You will end up with powder on your work surface. So I've gone ahead and started to colour this one. Actually, I heat embossed it, let it set for a little while, and I've coloured the berries in to match the berries actually on the holly on here. But I've done this with the light Flirty Flamingo Stampin' blend, and then to do the holly, you could use just a Stampin' blend in mint macaron, but I'm using the mint macaron ink, and I did this in one of my other videos. I'm just going to pick up some of the colour with the Wink of Stella. So just in the corner, I'm just picking out that bit of colour and then just coming down on the leaf, and it will blend and tone in different places. So you'll have, you know, part of the leaf will be a bit darker, other bits will be lighter, but it'll all be sparkly, and that's what we want. So I'm going to start, and it will resist against the embossed areas. So you could take your time doing this a bit longer, and also you'd probably be looking right over the top, so I can't really see it, but I think that's fine. On there, just come down the bottom a bit. Lovely. Okay, so that's that done, and there's just enough room to attach that onto this piece, literally just enough room, because what you don't want is for it to go higher than this, because there really isn't a lot of space above and below that. It just fits in that spot. So attach that with some glue. I'm just going to move mine around slightly just to fit it all in. There we go. It just looks really pretty. So pop that on. I left my lid off, so it's not loving me. There we go. It's sticky, but never mind. I'm going to pop it back on for a second. Okay, so let me just check on that one, because I did have I don't want it going over the wording, but there we go, just about fits on there. And then the way to attach these, it's probably easier to show you on this top bit here, but I've got some little circles cut out, and you can use dies. There's some circles in the gingerbread dies. If you do still have a 3/4 inch circle punch, I would just use that. So I've just cut some circles, and what you're going to do, you need 4, because you're going to need 2 for this piece and 2 for this piece, and you fold them in half. So literally get a circle. It can be slightly bigger, it could be probably an inch at the tops, and you could probably do it with a square, so you could cut a little square, but you're just literally going to fold this in half. It's not going to show, it's just going to be a mechanism. So give them a run over with your bone folder. So all of those are now in half, so you need 2 for this piece and 2 for this top piece. So what's going to happen is these are going to go either side of these folds at the top, this corner piece here, and that's going to be what we stick those on. So the bottom semicircle is going to be stuck to the card. We're going to leave the top free until we need to stick something onto that. So it is a little bit fiddly doing it on this one in here, and the reason this is moving around so much is because I've shown this mechanism to my ladies quite a lot. So first of all, we're going to stick the circular half onto this side, and then we're also going to stick another one, which mine's now come off, onto this side. I've been pulling it around too much. So what we want to do, this is going to sit on the front, so on this piece here we want to stick, so this, as it opens up, so we've got a circle here which is going to be free, and this little semicircle is going to sit attached to that inside bit with the holly on. Sorry, I know it's probably not very clear to see, and my description of what's happening might not be the best, but so have your circle like that, flip over this side and just put some glue on here. I'm just going to clear the end of mine because I think it got a bit sticky when I left it out. So glue on this side, and then, like I say, it is a bit fiddly. You're going to put it, let me put it on and then I'll show you where it is. So it's going right up to that fold there, but this bit isn't attached to anything. Gosh, it's really hard to show you. you can see that half is stuck down. This one's just free because that's just going to sit like that, like a hinge. Okay, so this one is stuck down on the inside, and then we're going to do the same on the other side. So if you're not sure which bit you need to stick down, have a little practice first. So essentially those two bits are going to come up in the middle, so it's this piece underneath that we're going to stick down. So check you know which one you're putting glue on, and then that way. So we're having this circular bit being stuck down and this other circle's coming up in the air. So the straight line is going on this crease here. So it might be easier to watch when I do the top one, just to get a better idea of what's going on here, because when you're seeing it on the outside, it might be easier to see where I'm going with this. But essentially that's kind of created a little hinge. So these two are free, and then what I'm going to do is put glue on these two, and then this is going to slot in and stick to the wings there. And once you've got it in place, you can then fold this down and then really stick it. Okay, so first of all, let's put some glue on these two bits here. Okay, and then this is going to stand in there. So essentially the center of this is going to stick to that. So I'm just going to put it down here while I maneuver it into the center. So get it roughly where you want it to be, and check that that's how it's going to look nice stood up, and that it's quite central. One's moving. And then once you're happy, kind of stick it in place, have a quick check again. So I'm happy that that's fairly central for me. And then stick that down, and that's then in place on these little tabs on the inside. Okay, and then we're going to do the same on the top on this bit here, and so we're going to attach our little winged pieces on first, so you can see a bit better what I'm doing. This piece here is going to attach to this papered piece here, and the fold on the semicircle is going to come up to the fold on the front of that card. Then we're going to do the same on this one. We're just going to stick this side onto the paper, and this side's going to come up to that fold, so it just creates those little wings there. So let's go ahead and do that. So glue just on one side for now, and like I said, it's a little bit easier on this one because you can work with it flat, so try and get it roughly in the middle there, but not going over the fold because we need that to stay there. And oops, put some glue on this one. And I want this straight fold to line up. It doesn't butt up exactly against that one because you need them both to be either side of that fold, but that's essentially where you're going with that. So again, that half of the circle is stuck down on that side, this half of the circle is stuck to this side, and then we're going to use these wings here to put our decor on. Okay, so I'm going to layer up the decoration first. So you're going to need about 7.5 inches of this gorgeous white organdy ribbon, and then cut the ends at a bit of an angle. And you'll notice that there's a more sparkly side on one side than the other, so you're going to offset that and put a little glue dot in the middle to create that loop at one end, and you've got these tails at the other end. So let's do that. Sorry, you might have heard my girls giggling in the other room. I think they know I'm videoing, but they might have forgotten. But you know, at least it's laughing. It could be worse. Although most of the time they do get on really well. I'm very lucky. Okay, so little loop there. And then we're going to get one of our snowflakes, wonderful snowflakes. Oh, I've used so many of those in my projects this year. I love these, and I was happy to see they're actually carrying over to the autumn winter or to the annual catalogue next year. So in June they'll go back in a catalogue. So I'm going to stick that just flat onto basically where that join is, or a bit further over, so we can see this little loop here. So again, a glue dot on there. Make sure you've got the iridescent side showing. So let's pop that about there. And then on the top, I've cut from silver foil, and this is from the Stitched Snowflakes. Again, I've used this on a lot of projects. I'm getting my words mixed up tonight. And I'm going to pop that one on with, did I do it flat or did I do it with, oh, I did it with a mini dimensional or a piece of a mini dimensional. So if you have mini dimensionals or regular dimensionals, there's always a border that you can snip a little bit off. So just, obviously it's not a very big space behind there, so just snip a little section off, a little square like that, or it could be half a mini dimensional. Take the backing off, a bit fiddly. Pop it on the back of your snowflake here and do your best that it doesn't show, and then take the backing off there and then attach this one on top, and I think that makes a really sweet decoration. And then we're just going to add a rhinestone. You know, it has to be super sparkly, doesn't it, on this project? So in the middle there, perfect. And then finally we're going to attach this. I think instead of glue, I'm going to put a couple of glue dots onto here because I want that to stick to the ribbon, etc. And when you stick that on, you need to try and make sure that this isn't going to get too trapped down here. Okay, so when it opens up, let's just see if you could have it a bit, you just need to make sure when it's flat, when it's closed, that that doesn't get hooked up. Okay, so oh, it's kind of attached itself almost. So let's put a couple of glue dots on each of those. So one up here. The new glue dots, I think I've mentioned this before, are now coming off on this bit of the reel, and I find it a bit harder to get them off, but I'll get used to it. It's stuck to me. Oh, okay. I'm sure there must be a knack and I'll find it. But for now, this is fine because I don't need them to be really flat. Okay. Ooh. So you're just going to now put this straight down onto here. And there you have it, my Whimsy and Wonder triple pop-up cube card. I hope you've enjoyed making that. Take care. See you soon. Bye.